Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hazwan and my teammate also Amirul and Nur Hisham. Today I would like to present about Sukuk Rating, subject IMMU 600 Islamic Capital Market. Okay, first we go to introduction. So 1.0 introduction. This Sukuk is referred to as Islamic bonds, offer investment option that follow Sharia guideline. Sukuk have grown in popularity in traditional financial market as Sharia compliant index capital market like Indonesia, Singapore, and other countries. Sukuk ratings are essential for determining these securities creditworthiness and default risk, and allowing investors to make wise choice. Sukuk have grown significant and popular as a form and alternative financing. In this day, we know Sukuk have grown and have been chosen by other countries also. Even in Europe, they have one capital in Islamic contract. And number three, Sukuk rating are essential in situation determine the creditworthiness risk of these securities. The complexity Sukuk rating in Islamic capital market is examined in this article along with these significant rating techniques and also the function they play guiding by investment choices. And also, Sukuk rating related to analyzing financial strategy, past performance, cash flow forecast, and also debt servicing capacity that quantitative factors. Rating agency assess the issue, the financial stability, debt load, liquidity situation, and capacity to produce enough the cash flow to cover its debts. Additionally, they could evaluate the Sukuk underlying assets or projects and their potential for their generate income. So we go to how to understand Sukuk rating. So, in assessing the creditworthiness are risks involved with Sukuk issues. Sukuk rating are essential. This rating are investor consistent measurement of issue capacity to meet its financial commitments, and eight, they determine the possible return and also degree of risk associated with Sukuk investment. And they have a rating scales for Sukuk often recommend those used for conversion bonds and convey information about the insurance, creditworthiness, and default risk. The category of the scale which commonly ones like a grade, we call it as a high credit quality, and also non-investment grade, we call as a greater credit risk, might differ slightly between rating and the same. So there are four crucial ideas. So in this Sukuk, the first thing is a credit rating organization, reputable. Is a credit rating company gives Sukuk ratings. This organization do in-depth evaluations of the Sukuk issues financial standing, the underlying asset, the Sukuk issues overall, the structure. And the second one is Sukuk rating are based on evaluation, the issue creditworthiness, which is take the account things like financial health, past performance, and also capacity to produce the enough cash flow. And the third one is Sukuk rating, evaluate the degree risk connected to the issue of Sukuk. They entails researching elements include industry-specific hazards and also market dynamics and also economic stability and also legal and regulatory issues. And the last is a rating scale like those used for the conventional goal are frequently utilized to give score rating. So each rating have a common rating scale we use, triple A, the highest, double A, triple B, and also and others. to indicate the distinct degree of creditworthiness and risk. And also we go to the some points in the understanding the Sukuk rating. Uh, the first, impact of pricing. The pricing Sukuk issuer is affected by Sukuk rating. Sukuk with better rating, low yields, which is return since they are less dangerous and less risk. With Sukuk with lower rating could have higher yields to make higher risk. And the second one is investor confidence. Sukuk rating gives investor an unbiased evaluation to Sukuk issues the financial health and investment risk profile. And continuous monitoring rating for Sukuk are dynamic and also subject to fluctuate over time depending on the issues, financial health and market condition. And the last one is continuous monitoring rating for Sukuk are dynamic and subject fluctuate over time depending on the issues, financial health, market and condition. So we go to the 3.0. What is factors influencing Sukuk rating? So I have some points to highlight. The first thing is the rating given to issue the capital market where Sukuk rating are established and also influenced by the number of variables. There are a few factors influencing the Sukuk rating. The first one is financial stability of the issue is a key the component to Sukuk rating issue financial stability and creditworthiness. The issue financial performance is also evaluated by rating agency, including profitability, revenue growth, and also capacity service of debt. The second one is asset quality and collateral. It's agency take into the account the underlying asset of a project, the support, the sukuks, and also they assess the asset caliber, worth and capacity then for generating income. The third one is Sharia compliant is Sukuk rating a place of strong emphasis on how to test Sukuk structure complies with Islamic law, and also rating agency evaluate the way the issue complies with Islamic financial rules and also including avoidance of haram activity and prohibition of interest like riba. So, and also the fourth is industrial market factor. The circumstances, the industry trends that are pertinent and the issue have a big impact market of Sukuk ratings. And also, rating agencies assess the issue position by sector by looking things like market development, competition, and also legal and regulatory framework. And the fifth, governance and management is a key factor in assigning a Sukuk grade to issue. Is it governance structure and management caliber? Sixthly, country risk is a Sukuk rating heavily depends on economic and political stability of the nation, which is the issuer conduct business. Rating agency take into the account nation sovereign rating and how it affects the issuer operation and capacity to pay debts. Okay, that's all for me. I would like to pass the other team.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amirul Farhan by Muhammad Isa 202028 2472. Today I would like to present about benefits of Sukuk. Benefit of Sukuk is divided by 5. So the first one is diversification. Sukuk offer investor the opportunity to diversify their investment portfolio beyond conventional bonds and equities. Sukuk provide exposure to a range of sectors, including infrastructure, real estate, energy, which may not be readily available through traditional investment avenues. Which means Sukuk is backed up by the government before they set up something, and just like a big tower just like PNB 118. The diversification help manage risk by reducing reliance on a single asset class or geographic location. Sharia compliance. Suku are structured in accordance with Islamic principle, making them suitable for Muslim investor seeking Sharia compliant investment option, whereby we, as a Muslim, we should find a halalan tayyiban, just like in Surah Al-Baqarah, wa halallahu bai'ahu haram riba. Sukuk align with ethical and socially responsible investment principle by prohibiting investment sector such as gambling, alcohol, and other non-Sharia compliance. Just like in Genting Highland, we cannot invest over there, or there is no sukuk uh, being what we call it being a point over there lah. Sharia compliance ensure that suku investment avoid prohibited activities, interest-based transaction, speculation, investment in industry deemed unethical order under principle under Islamic principle. This compliance at ethical dimension to investment, attracting socially responsible investor. Okay, the next one is benefit of Suku also. Stability and security. Suku are typically backed up by tangible asset, whereby there's an asset back up the Suku of the Suku. Just like uh, there will build a tower that will benefit for rent or for selling and whatsoever, or for tourism, providing with a degree of security. The underlying asset serve as collateral, reducing the risk of default. Sukuk holders have priority in the distribution of proceeds in the event of default liquidation, providing an additional layer of security. Income generation. Sukuk offer regular income in the form of profit sharing. Profit sharing ratio are predetermined, providing transparency and predictability to investor. Uh, Suku in the contract will tell us how much profit margin we will have, and or the ratio we will get after the the timeline. Sukuk holder receive payment based on underlying asset, cash flow, profit generated by a finance project. Global market access. Sukuk again international recognition with assurance occurring in various countries, including Malaysia, Middle East, European country, and so on. Sukuk enable issuer to tap into the broader investor base, including both Islamic conventional investor, enhancing market access and liquidity. The global nature of Sukuk for geographic diversification, reducing exposure to a specific region, economic risk. Economic growth and development. Sukuk facilitate mobilization of funds for large-scale infrastructure, supporting economic growth and development that attract both local and foreign investors, fostering international capital and stimulating investment in emerging market. The issuer of Sukuk promotes financial inclusion by providing with an alternative investment avenue for individual and institution with preferred who preferred uh, Islamic instrument. So Sharia contract in Sukuk. We have two contract that we use in Sukuk. The first one is musyarakah, and the second one is mudarabah. Musyarakah, as we know, musyarakah is represent partnership agreement whereby multiple party contribute capital to finance a project. Investors share the profit and loss according to pre-agreed ratios. Sukuk issued under the musyarakah contract represent proportionate ownership in the underlying asset. Mudharabah involves a partnership between investor or Rabbul Mal and the manager Mudharib. The investor provide capital while the manager provide expertise and labor. Profit generated from the project are shared between investor and the manager based on predetermined ratio. The last one is Shariah practice in Sukuk. Uh, the first thing first, Shariah practice in Sukuk is prohibit of interest. The second one, prohibition of speculation, gharar. The third one is ethical guideline. The fourth one is asset-backed nature. The first one is prohibition of interest. Sukuk avoid interest-based transaction, as I mentioned earlier, which are considered exploitative. Instead, Sukuk adopt profit-sharing mechanism to provide return to investor. Prohibition of gharar. Sukuk contract are based on tangible asset or specific project, reducing speculative elements. Transparency in underlying asset and project detail enhance investor confidence. There is nothing hidden behind any sukuk contract. It's not sukuk contract, in sukuk thingy. Uh, Islamic teaching, avoiding any gharar thingy, gharar, because of to make confidence and more trustworthy, which mean amanah towards other Muslim. There's an hadith about it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل ولا تدلوا بها إلى حكام لتأكلوا فريقا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العظيم. Ethical guideline. Sharia compliance sukuk about investment in industries such as alcohol, gambling, and conventional finance. Socially responsible investment aligned with Islamic principles are encouraged. Asset-backed nature. Sukuk are backed by tangible assets such as real estate, infrastructure project, commodities, ensuring the transparency, legitimacy of the investment. The underlying asset provides security to sukuk holder and protect them from speculative activities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Hisham, and I will present about risk of sukuk. The first risk is generally defined as the uncertainty or potential for suffering loss. Risk is also connected with uncertainty in the financial environment and is reflected in the cost involved with business. Next, monetary risk. Naturally, when an investor purchases a sukuk ijarah, the investor wants the ability to resolve their investment profit and rental. Next, risk of foreign currency exchange. The investment is typically transacted in US dollars when the investors purchase sukuk ijarah. that is traded on a global market, the return or rental income will, of course, be lower when the value of the US dollar declines. Next, risk of default in rent payment. Sukuk-like bonds, Ijarah is likewise susceptible to the risk of missing rent payment. The investor will lose money if the originating firms fails to pay rent to the SPV. Investors should therefore pick sukuk that have received a formal rating from a rating agency. Risk of defaulting in Sharia. Sukuk will unquestionably pose a risk to the global market if there is a dispute over the Sharia advisory council decision, such as the emergency of misunderstanding and the disagreements in the international area, as Islamic jurists as schools oppose the approval of its issuance. So next is organizational risk. The danger associated with the sukuk redemption process is one of them. The holders of a certificate sukuk ijarah for rental may redeem them after the rental ijarah maturity time has passed. Next, risk element and credit. The sukuk issuance is underpinned by the risk involved. In most circumstances, the risk element and credit issues are normally structured or minimized under the transaction structure by way of financing the cash flow from the asset via legal instrument or achieving through sale of the ownership of the asset to a special purpose company that are bankruptcy remote among others. So next is the operation. Sukuk operation. The first is the Securities Commission oversees the issuance of sukuk through a framework and a set of rules known as the Guidelines of the Offering of Islamic Securities. In Malaysia, sukuk can be drafted in accordance with a number of the guidelines mentioned Sharia concept and principle. According to this idea, the holder of the sukuk will sell the asset back to the sukuk issuer at the purchase price plus and profit once the issuer has obtained funds from the holder by offering his asset or that of the vendor at a cash price. And the owners of sukuk must find a solution to this issue, preferably on that does not violate Sharia law by being oppressive or tyrannical, and in particular does not involve the payment of riba. This is because conventional banks have been charging riba since the start of the delay, whether or not the debtor involved is able to pay off the debt. A sale contract known as a buy bitaman ajil (BBA) stipulates deferred payment. And the Securities Commission uh, sorry, Malaysian operates parallel Islamic and conventional banking and financial system, which is governed by two apex institutions, Bank Negara Malaysia and Securities Commission. These institutions supervise the market intermediaries and their activities in the market. While the Malaysian equities market has the most least business in ASEAN, the Malaysia capital market has managed to control the largest sukuk market in the world and the third largest bond market in Asia as measured by gross domestic product. And Sukuk operation is the Securities Commission report states that all default cases are not entirely brought on by Sharia consideration. They can also occur for the same reason as a conventional bond default cases, which problems with the company's management and going activities. In conclusion, Sukuk is anticipated to be a perfect financial instrument that can help Malaysia economy in the not too distant future. Sukuk can be taken into consideration by the financial community because it is based on Sharia-based investment principles, which are very alluring and lucrative for investors. Therefore, you can do some research on the Sukuk instrument you are interest, interest in before you decide how much money to invest. In Malaysia, the Sharia Advisory Council of the Malaysian Securities Commission's approval of the Sukuk is sufficient to give you confidence in the Sukuk. Terima kasih.